All right, so it is recording at this point. The meeting is being recorded live. I checked public comment just a couple minutes ago. There was no public comment for Park and Rec. So, you know, as of this point, nothing to.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sonia. Nothing to read in. For the sake of the minutes, I will do a very quick roll call. And I actually see that everybody from the Park and Rec board is here. So I will go ahead and read them off. Just say that you're present. Wade Pollock.
Here.
Peter Lake.
Here.
Jonathan Gifford.
Here.
Sonia Di Valerio.
Here.
And Bill Postic. And I see Bill, but he is muted. All right, I'm going to acknowledge he's here anyway.
I'm unmuted.
And it looks like I might have, okay, I've got a couple other people. Looks like Sheila's here, so I'll let her talk. All right, so we've moved Sheila over, so she's also present. And I want to introduce Nick Schlegel, who just started working at the Township in the administration office. And Nick is going to be interfacing with Park and Rec a bit. So again, welcome to Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, good to be here.
Welcome.
All right, so Wade, the meeting is all yours. I'll be quiet now.
That's hard.
Okay, so the Greer Park Master Plan, we're in the process of collecting estimates for everything, including two scenarios: one keeping the pond, one removing the ponds. The township is helping the consultant with some of those estimates. We're trying to incorporate the MS4 requirements as far as cost avoidance goes, and also any kind of grants that might be available through the state or public funds. And also the maintenance for both scenarios. Right now, it's looking like it's probably about $10,000 a month or a year more to maintain a pond than it would be to remove the pond. But I haven't seen all of the numbers. That's just a big number or a guess. So don't use it. But that's about where we're at. We're waiting for those to come in, and then we're going to meet again, take a look at the numbers, and try and decide what the panel, the committee feels is best, and make some kind of recommendation to the board off of that. And then the consultant will continue on with the plan and writing a grant request for us for future work in Greer Park. So that's where we're at right now. Hopefully we'll be able to have this done in another month or so. And the Bocce Ball Courts, I haven't heard back from the township. I believe the information was included in the budget. So I don't know. When did we hear back from them, George?
Sure. So the board, it was in the capital budget. The board authorized the advertising of the budget. So probably not this upcoming meeting, but the following meeting, there'll be I guess, a official public hearing over the budget, and then, you know, they'll decide what's adopted.
Okay. And then the paint scheme for Gable Park and possibly Newby, the teacher was extremely excited. I haven't heard back from the township. Now, that was on the agenda Monday night. George, do you know if that was talked about at all? Or
The paint scheme?
Yes.
I actually don't remember that being talked about.
Okay. It was in my report to the township. Oh. They might not have gotten to it.
Yeah, I don't remember it being discussed.
Okay. All right. I think they probably just glanced over the reports for everyone else because Doug had to do a presentation that went on for a while. So. All right.
But that is something that, if I'm right, Wade, was that being funded in 2021?
We were yes, I think you were going to paint the basketball court anyway. I think both of them.
Yeah, so we were going to paint the basketball court this year, and then, of course, everything got frozen. We put it back in for next year's budget again. That doesn't mean that we won't be designing that with the art teacher this year.
Okay, so I guess my question then to the township is, do we go ahead and get a little committee together with the art teacher and start the process rolling, or?
I think that we do. You know, it's intended to be done. So I think it's appropriate to, you know, to start that committee with the art teacher.
Okay, all right, I'll contact her and let her know. So if anyone on the committee wants to join a little subcommittee, I don't know whether we want to just bring her into our regular meetings. I don't know if there will be enough time. So I think the first meeting would be offline from this. So if anyone else wants to join, just send me an email and let me know. And I'll send out the information as far as when that meeting would occur. And I still have not heard back from the Culbertson art teacher there. I would assume that the township's okay with that as well, George, or that's not something that's in the budget.
The Culbertson,
it's
remind
a
me.
mural. So we're going to do a mural on the bathroom at Drexel Lodge Park. So
Right.
I mean, that would be not a lot of paint. It would be one wall.
I think Steve had said he was okay with that. So I think we were a go for it. I mean, obviously, whatever's going to be painted gets presented to the board to make sure they're good with it.
Yes.
But I think the concept was on board.
Okay, I'm gonna reach out to them again, and if I can, I'm gonna find someone that can reach them, just to get an answer one way or the other. And then the water bottle filling station, do you know if that was in the budget?
It is in the budget, yes.
Oh, wow. All right.
Now, again, you know, the budget hasn't survived getting, you know, picked through and approved, but it's all made it in there. It's all advertised at this point. It's made it that far, which is great.
All right. And so then, Peter, the bat box locations that we selected aren't going to work because there's lights there.
Yeah, I saw that report.
So we're gonna have to find another location. If anyone goes out to any of the parks and they see some locations, just send us all an email. I intend to go back to Drexel Lodge Park and look down by the pond. They like to be by the water anyway, so. And it's dark down there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's perfect down there.
Okay.
I think they just needed some sunlight during the day. I went hiking there a couple times, and it was pretty shady when the leaves were still up. And, you know, because Campus Boulevard is higher up than the park is. So there's a lot of shadow down there.
Oh, well.
But Wade, I'll go over and look again with you if you want.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
just
I'll
let me
send
know.
you a text.
Okay. I'll go. Weekends are best for me.
All right.
See,
Okay.
Wade,
Yes?
I see someone else has joined us who's actually identified as Wade, so I want to rename them.
Might be
And I
Sandy.
know who to welcome.
I'm guessing it's Sandy or Paul.
Sandy, and she's muted.
It's Sandy. I'm trying to read.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Wade, how are you?
Good. So then, I guess we're on, Peter, you were going to do a disc golf course at Drexel Lodge. Have you figured anything out there? Or?
Well, at last, kind of as I recall, that George, you and I were going to meet up and just kind of walk it through.
Yeah.
Last month.
Yeah, we
I
do
know
still
you're-
need to do that.
I know you're busy, so just come back to me whenever you can, because it's a beautiful park, and I have a great vision for it. So
Sounds good. I will do that with you, Peter.
I would love to hang out with you, brother.
And so we did have the creek cleanup at Brookside Park. It went very well. There was a Boy Scout troop. I can't remember. The guy lives on Ridgefield that heads up the troop. There were like 3 fathers and probably about 10 kids. And they really did a great job. I mean, they were there for hours. I was there for like 3 hours.
Wow.
And there was a couple other people that showed up. And there was a pretty big pile, I think, that was there by the end of the day. So it turned out pretty good. So DCVA, I'm in contact with them. They're now sending me emails. So next year we're going to try and include Brookside Park and possibly have like the police and the fire department just do that by themselves. So they'd be isolated in Greer Park. And then I would like to add another park every year if we can for the DCVA cleanup, which is Darby Creek Valley Association. And Marty Milligan hosted that event on Saturday. I just was there to watch and learn and support them. So hopefully we can do Greer next year.
Cool.
And then as far as new business, defining a process for collecting donations. So Sandy's, a friend of Sandy's was willing to donate some money toward the water bottle filling station at Drexel Lodge Park. I don't know how to collect money. You know, I think we need to define a process that's transparent and can be, you know, the money can be accounted for. I don't want to personally collect.
Well, Wade, one of the ways that it's been done in the past is the donation goes to Newtown
America
in Bloom, America in Bloom. And in the memo line, it puts for whatever it is. And so they are kind of like the custodian receiving the donations because they're a 501c3. And so those are tax deductible. Or if they come from a foundation or some other charitable organization, it's legitimate if it goes to another 501c3.
And I know Joe Barry heads that up, and I'm sure that he has, you know, good accounting with all the records, but I don't know how it works with capital or any kind of expenditures in the park, because the parks are owned by the township. You know, like we were collecting money for an event, and we gave the money to a band to have an event, and that's, you know, it didn't involve changing the property. So I was just uncertain. I just want to make sure that the township, you know, is okay with that process for collecting money for a water fountain or improving the park in some way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I was talking to Steve about that this afternoon, Wade, and I'm gonna talk to Rich LaFiata in the finance office and bring you in, and the three of us can just talk about setting up a policy for that, because
Okay.
You're right, it's a little different for something that's essentially a capital improvement for a property versus, you know, like an event that's taking place that hasn't changed anything. And the 501c3, I know they've run it through that before, but it's probably not the ideal way to do it. Essentially,
How are things done when people donate like park benches and they have, you know, in memory of somebody? I know state parks have that. A lot of different public parks have that kind of thing. This could be something similar, I would think.
Exactly, because I think what we want to do is have a policy where if it's donated to the township, then the Board of Supervisors officially accepts the donation. And then it goes on to the record, and it's, you know, it's on the books, and everything's, you know, totally above board with it, because it's for a purpose, because they also have to make sure that they're going to utilize it for that purpose. So I think for sure before the next meeting, we can come back with a policy and see if the Park and Rec Board is amenable to that policy working for us.
is it necessarily a tax deductible donation?
And that's what I want to talk to the finance manager about as part of it. Yeah. See, the 501c3 can offer the tax, the tax deduction, but the question is if the donation doesn't really have to do with what the 501c3 is for, it can be dicey. And Newtown Square and Bloom's purpose is really beautification.
Newtown Square is also community development as well, guys. Wade, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it's also part of community development. So if you have anything with that, I would also bring Paul and Janet and Joe Barry in if you want further clarification, because we talked about some of this before regarding specifically Greer Park, and if we were going to try to find a way to look for grants and something and channel it through that way as well. So it's beautification and community development. So I think it'd be important if you're going to bring them in involved, when it's applicable to bring Newtown Square and Bloom involved, and when it's applicable to use the township, because you can't get the tax deductible, if it's a donation to the township.
I'm not sure about that. I think other townships accept money, but I think you could check with the solicitor and the finance people. Great, but it would be good to have some literature on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's part of what we're going to research and work with the finance manager, because again, we want it to be beneficial to the person making the donation.
Wade and George, thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, and I think that we told the people who donated money for the concerts in the past that it was not a tax write-off.
Well, it was, because it went through the Newtown
American
Square Bloom.
in Bloom.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know the check from Dunwoody went to Newtown Square and Bloom, but was specifically earmarked for the concert.
yes. Okay, for some reason I thought they weren't tax deductible.
Well, no, in that case, not, because Dunwoody is also a 501c3. So 501c3s can donate money to other 501c3s. That's clean. Individuals, if you are doing certain donations, as an example, through an IRA, it has to go from the IRA to a 501c3. But if you write a check personally, you have to a 501c3, it is a tax deductible donation.
Okay. All right, well then we'll have to check with the finance department just to make sure that we're legit.
They should know what to do.
Yes. Okay. Just to make sure we're clean on it. And so then I added placeholders for a May concert, the 15th. I'm not sure if it will be the 15th or the 8th. I think normally it would be the 15th is when that would fall. So, and then I added the disc golf event as well. So hopefully we're out of COVID and there's vaccines, or there's, it's just a placeholder. Keep our fingers crossed.
AstraZeneca just said they're going to have the vaccine by the end of 2020.
Huh? I hope so. All right, and that's it for the agenda. Is there any open or any new items? I think Sheila, you had some items,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Actually, I've got down the new trees that we planted at Brookside. The trees themselves, if we can, I don't know, George, if you can maybe, or one of us, we need to go back and readdress the bands are very tight. So the posts that are holding them, and I took some photos of them, the tree post and the bands around them are actually the stem of the tree is growing over the bands because they're so tight. And in one particular tree, the rutting from the deer is so bad that it's actually stripped the entire bark off of that. So the two of them are in quite danger of, being damaged severely, but the rest of them have to be readjusted, or even if we want to take the post off, but they're way too tight now. And I did want to check with you about the dumping situation down there. George, I saw that there was somebody who dumped that spruce type tree or an evergreen tree, and you guys did a great job cleaning that up probably the following week. But is there anything we can do to maybe have some type of cameras or down there? Because it seems rather consistent than people are dumping down there.
So we have reported that to the police. I'll see what they've been doing with it. I don't know if they have a camera they could put up.
Yeah, and if you can have a camera, like, you know, those blink systems that are working off of a cell phone device. So you don't need to have an energy source down there, but it can work off of a device that's only activated when there's activity. And you can concentrate it just to the, you know, the bark and the tree and the mulch area. So it doesn't go off every time somebody's down at the park. So we're not infringing upon anyone's privacy. But if we focus the camera on that side, we can catch these individuals. Because I have photos of the dumping, but you guys did a great job cleaning up the following week, and that looked awesome. I do notice, and I did check with Wade and George, maybe you can clarify it. If you look on the area of the park that's to the side of St. Albans Swim Club, so it's the area by the bridge where the basins are coming out, and it's the property that ends at the last street on Brookside, and there's a bit of land in there. Is that the swim club's spot, or is that township property there? It's part of the trail and all that, you know, what would be the trail? Because I'm noticing that people are dumping there as well, and it's not just their debris, it's trash and things of that nature. So and also there is a great area of concern in that area that I'm talking about. Across the street was that old house that was on the corner of Ridgefield and Brookside. And if you look at that driveway and opposite that parallel in the street, you're actually seeing that the street itself is undermined from all the water that's coming, the storm water that's coming out of there. So it's covered in right now with leaves, but you'll see the bedrock of the street is exposed, and it looks like it's actually going to cave in a bit.
This is Brookside at Ridgefield?
That's the, no, it's Brookside at Ridgefield on the side that's closer to St. Albans Swim Club. So it's that bit of land. Is that Township Parks land, or is that the swim club land?
So
You know where the bridge is?
on the
little,
side where the bridge is.
right by in front of the stop sign, that area.
You know what I'll do? I will email you. Actually, I'll email everybody in Park and Rec a survey map of the park.
Okay.
And you can identify exactly where you're talking about.
Right. And I did take some photos, and I can send them to you as well.
Okay, great.
But there's trash being dumped there, as well as the greater concern actually is not just, it's not a parks issue, but it's really a streets issue. Your street is going to give out because of all the storm water that's coming from across that driveway across, and from the water flow that's coming down on Brookside.
Okay, I'll go look at it.
I'll send you the photos there, but you almost have to, the spot that I'm looking at, George, you're going to actually have to kind of take it's filled in right now with leaves, but Wade saw it, right, Wade?
Yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, it's a really bad spot. It's actually, you're going to give out your street's going to, and another thing is, I noticed that, even though you guys just cleaned up Brookside, I don't know why, but even today, just when I was walking by, there was a lot of trash and debris in the creek area, in front of St. Albans, and in the water right down below that. So I don't know if somebody just threw all their trash there or what happened, but it was noticeable, and I have photos of that. So it's just sad because you guys just did that, and it looked great last week.
Okay, thank you.
And that one tree that's down there at Brookside, that's, it's already, you have a pink strand. Are you taking that one down? It's dead?
What tree at Brookside?
There's a tree that's already marked with a pink band around it.
A pink band.
You know, that pink plastic band?
Yeah.
It's marked around the entire tree. So I thought maybe you were marking it because it's.
Yeah, we have not been marking any trees.
Okay, well, there's a pink plastic band around it, and I didn't know if you thought it was dead or what have you, but it was marked, and I didn't know if you were planning to take that down. I just was asking about that.
Sure. Is it on the St. Albans side or on the Ridgefield side?
It's on the St. Albans side, and it's in the area adjacent to the swim club on the other, where they replaced the bridge. It's in that new area. You know, when you have that little, that divot that goes in on the circle, that right on the side of St. Albans side?
Okay.
Okay. And one thing I thought, if we can, guys, and this is just parks in general. So I don't know if this is really kind of parks, but also EAC. We have a lot of vines that are overgrowing all of the trees, and they're getting to the point. And I know you guys try to cut the outer perimeter trees that are kind of near the street with machetes or whatever. But if you go in even 10, 15, 20 feet, you'll see that the vines are taking over the trees. And if we're working so hard to try to save trees, would it be helpful if maybe Parks and Rec, in conjunction with Public Works, maybe even EAC, or when we're doing one of those cleanups, goes in and kind of aggressively cuts some of those vines down from growing on the trees? Because when I looked at a lot of them, they're actually starting to kill. And, you know, they've come over, they're taking over the trees, and they're taking over the canopy. So if we don't address the vines that are growing in that area, it's gonna kill all your trees.
Is that in Brookside you're talking about?
That's in Brookside that I noticed particularly, but it's really at all parks, because even down at Greer and everything, you see the vines are rather deep. But at Brookside, it's more noticeable because you're in the on the stream side. Even when you're in 10 feet in from the street, you'll see that the vines have taken over the trees, and they are actually starting to damage the trees and almost do a thing. So if we don't address, you know, even at least kind of even taking a machete and just cutting off the source now, eventually they'll have the entire tree succumb. And George, if you're down there, you can give me a call. Maybe I can try to meet up with you there, but I can show you what I'm looking at. And the sad part is, like, one tree in particular, you had a gorgeous oak that is already now, I would say, mostly dead because it's been taken over by the vines. I think we give Peter a machete and let him have at it.
Oh, no, I have my chainsaw, but I know the township doesn't want us using chainsaws.
Just you, Peter.
Oh, can you send Pete Williams down? He can supervise me.
All right, well, give him a samurai and let him have at it. But we need to get those vines whacked down.
I'm good at that too. I've saved several trees in our backyard.
Yep. And that's not even the ivy. I mean, if we want to address the ivy, that's true. But the vines are what's choking these trees, and they're very aggressive. The growth rate for the vines this year is rather intense.
Yeah, and I mirror what you're saying there, Sheila, because unless you're after it all the time,
right,
then they do creep up.
Well, what they're doing right now is they're starting to suffocate all the trees that you guys are trying to grow in the wooded area. And we want to keep it a natural wooded area. But if we're working so hard to have, you know, trees, we don't want to kill the ones we have, for God's sake.
That's right. I can do that. I can take my saw over there.
And as I said, guys, I could do that too. We could put on our boots, make it a Saturday, and just go in the woods and have at it.
Set it up, Sheila.
Does Cindy want to get EAC involved? Have you talked to her?
I can ask her about that. Now the idea, this is something we can look at. Originally, we were scheduled for November 21st to do the joint venture with EAC. But as you know, with COVID and PHS and everyone, I think they pulled back on that. So we are not doing the planning. George, is that, you confirm that? So we're not doing the plan.
Yeah, that's what Steve told me. So the trees that we ordered for that planning project, we're just going to put in our tree nursery. So they'll be available next year.
All right. So originally, guys, I know Parks was on board with helping that out. So that was November 21st. We were planning that. So, you know, if Parks wants to do their own event, they don't need necessarily to coordinate with EAC. And I think because EAC was concerned with the township, you know, COVID, we don't want to do anything that's going to put anyone in jeopardy. So we can't really have anything on a grand scale. But if we, you know, if we want to do something, you know, there's no harm in trying to
Peter, you want to call me when you go over? Maybe you work 20 feet from me. I'll bring my saw. You can bring your saw. I have a handsaw. It's not a chainsaw.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
don't think we
sure.
want chainsaws. Peter, I really don't think we want chainsaws. I think we need to be meticulous in where we cut so we don't do any damage to the trees. And we just really want to go
Okay.
after the vines.
I'll bring my loppers instead.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the kind of things because I mean, the chainsaw would definitely be more efficient. However, I'm afraid, I mean, we'd have to really just be very careful where we're going to cut. You know, I don't want to damage a tree. I don't want the, the base of it. I just want us to be careful where we cut to make sure we're just getting the vines. And we
Sure.
don't even, I mean, George, do you do anything when you have vines that are, especially the ones that are, climbing aggressively? Do you treat them or how do you eradicate them usually?
Sheila, it depends. And I mean, honestly, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So I need to
Okay.
put eyes on it. What I'll do is I'll actually probably have Pete Williams, who's my tree guy on my staff, meet either you or you and Wade or somebody like that over there, and we'll look at it and
Yeah.
make a determination of what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Count me in on that one. I'd love to hear from what Pete has to say because he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Right. And he might even, if the township normally does, he might even want to spray the base of the new root so, that it doesn't come back next spring. But
Yeah, we'll look at
we'll
it.
take a,
and
okay,
come up
great.
with a plan.
Perfect. All right. Sounds great. And so everyone has the word about the November 21st not happening right now, but hopefully in the spring back, we'll look at that and I'll get confirmation for that from EAC. And I did talk with EAC and asked them regarding the Greer Park for them to collect their thoughts and maybe give a statement to the supervisors in support of whatever they believe would be best suited for Greer Park in terms of the dam and the pond issue. So that'll be something just to support Greer Parks Committee and give it to the supervisors. So that's something that EAC will be doing. And it's a good way to kind of verify, Wade, what's going on with, the environmental issues there.
Yes. But yeah, they did send something over EAC as far as, so they're talking about putting a 4-bay in. If we did keep the pond, we would put something called a 4-bay.
Right.
Which is like a collecting system in front of a pond. It's similar to a pond, but on a smaller scale.
Right.
We'll collect the sediment coming from the stream before it gets into the pond. And then you extract the sediment out of the 4-bay every 3 to 5 years.
Right.
So we asked EAC to give us input to that as well, because the sediment that's coming into the park, into Greer Park and the pond is significantly greater than you require an interval greater or less than 3 to 5 years. I would think every 2 to 3 years it would need to get dredged.
Okay. All right. So I think that's it for what I needed. Anything else? I think. All right. And so do we want to look to maybe do a summer program next year, guys, for, again, like, Tai Chi, yoga and a couple things for the summer, if we could look into developing that. Do you think we're going to be past this COVID situation? Well, we did it this year and it was successful.
Yes, we might as well plan on it. I would say yes.
Okay. All right. And we weren't able to have the yoga, frightening yoga or the spooky yoga or the other event there. So we just need to make sure that, I guess, with COVID, we're aware of what we can and cannot do so we don't kind of spin our wheels a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have to, identify what we're going to do, discuss it, inform the supervisors and make sure they're okay with it. And then we'll plan it from there in the future. And, and now if we're collecting money and we do have a process for collecting money, we know where we can send the money and it's going to be held and segregated.
Sure.
All right. Does anyone else have anything? So I guess we're done.
right, great, guys.
Hey, thanks, Wade.
I say one more, this is Sandy. May I say one more thing?
Yes.
You were very helpful in putting another Lissitor resident on your shade tree commission. He's been to at least one meeting and he reports that it is a most professional, energetic group. So congratulations. I think you've really got a winning group there.
Oh, great. I think the township's very happy that he joins the group.
Well, we're all friends, and so thanks for coming, Sandy.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Wade. Good night.
Thanks, Wade.
Good night.
Thanks, Wade.
Thank you.
Good night,
Stay
guys.
safe, everyone.
All right,
Stay
good night,
safe.
everybody.
Thanks, Sonia.
Record time, Wade.
George, George and Wade, I'll send you some photos.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, great, guys. See you.
Bless you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.